On the back here of your 50 amp plug, you have a red hot or black hot, because it's split phase 50 amps, and then you have a white neutral, and it's a copper wire, but sometimes it's green for ground. What I'm going to do is take these wires apart, and I'm going to run these inside to go to the surge protector, inline surge protector. So basically what I did, this piece right here goes up against this wall, so you have a little shelf and then it drops down. I got to determine if this box will fit behind that shelf once it's all completed, but I need to move some wires first. So I know this can reach up here if I need to. I know it can go down below if I need to, so I can go ahead and put the wires in this box. So I had a bit of a change of plans. Instead of putting the surge protector in the closet, I'm going to mount it underneath inside the bottom up here. So I got to rewire this silly thing. And it's a pain because those wires are super stiff. So I've got some changes I'm going to make to the wiring system. I went to Home Depot yesterday and bought a 50-foot roll of the 6'3" wire. That's the wire that comes in from the main power port here at the closet on the back side over there. Comes in that hole, but I'm going to put it underneath. I started wiring this thing up the other day and I realized I wanted to add a few other safety features, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. What's going to happen is I'm going to bring from the smart plug. So from the smart plug outside, it's going to come in and go through my surge protector. Then it'll go out of the surge protector up front to a 50 amp circuit breaker. From the 50 amp circuit breaker, and that's just an added, I call built-in suspenders. It goes from there to the inverter. From the inverter comes back here, and I'm still waiting on the part because Home Depot didn't have it, but it's a junction box, and I will connect the wire coming back from the inverter via the junction box to the existing wire, which goes underneath the floor here over to this side and comes out at the converter over here. So that's part of my wiring process today, and I hopefully will have the parts in and can finish that part soon. So I'm about to mount the inverter to the floor here. You can see my tape is the barrier. So there's a wall here, top here, wall here. I gave myself a little bit of room because I'll run the wires along this path here and up on the walls. It will be here when I put it back. But I cut me 2 pieces of square aluminum here. I'm going to drill those to the floor, and I'll drill this into that so it has some air to circulate underneath. I'm taking this cover off. So the reason I need to take that off is so I can see where I'm going to screw this thing down and make sure all of my little holes line up pretty good. They look like they do. So I'm going to set this off to the side for now. And you can see it's like a countersunk. I've got some big holes on the top and a little hole on the floor so I can screw this thing down to the floor. This is the 6'3" power wire. So if you look here, you have hot, neutral, ground. That's what those fire. So this is your 50 amp service. It splits into 2. But this wire is going to come up through here along the floor, basically like this, along where this cardboard is. It's going to take a right here and go along, take a left, come into here. And on the inside of your inverter right here, I have AC in, so it's going to go in here. And I'm going to have the exact same wire coming right back out of this thing, coming right along the same path, going right back in. And then there's when it will tie into the old, so where the smart plug used to hook to, that wire goes underneath the belly and comes up on the other side over there where my circuit breakers are, and the converter is all underneath that side of the rig. And then I will hook all of this to this battery, and then all of my stuff over there later on today, well, later on as I get to it. All right, everybody, during the install, this was probably the worst part of rewiring this entire trailer, because it's a small space and you're dealing with that wire that is the worst thing ever to try to bend and cut and so on and so forth. After chatting with a number of people who've done these type of things before and electricians, everybody said use the 6-3 wire just like it came with. So I bought a 50-foot roll of it from Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't recall now which one, but it's quite expensive wire because it's a lot of copper. But so coming in the side back there is the plug, the smart plug. It plugs in right there. You could see it in the video from the closet up here, and it ran down into this compartment. This compartment's pretty busy. This is the hall closet under most rigs. But what I did is detached the wire from the smart plug. I ran it into this inline surge protector here. Up in the closet up here is a remote sensor for it. So it plugs in like a phone cord here, and I run it up there so you can see. And it gives you a readout of what's going on. Here in the closet, you see the surge protector going through its checks, and it constantly gives you that. And you have the switch there that you can bypass this whole process if you decide you don't need it. So if you have a fault, it'll say F line 1 fault, or line 2 fault, because there's two hot wires coming through. From there, I go into this 50 amp junction box, and that was not that big a deal to wire it. I just had to go find a box that fit the space and find a box that I could put 2 50 amp breakers in. From here, it runs along and goes underneath my bed up to the inverter, and then it comes back. And this is where aside from wiring the surge protector alone, wiring this next part was most difficult. So there's a box up here, up underneath, screwed into the top up here. And it is the existing wire which used to go to the plug, and it runs underneath the floor and comes up over here on this side to this normal distribution panel for the entire trailer. So I had to hook those two wires back together so it completed the circuit going around the trailer. But that's what's in here, and I'll show you everything that I have. So this right here is the 50 amp circuit breaker, and inside there is the wires coming in, going to a distribution panel, going back out the other side and running back. This is your Progressive Industries inline surge protector, and then up here is my distribution panel with the wiring going there. If you don't know, this is your water pump. This is your bypass valve, so you can winterize it with this hose here. You should also check and make sure that your heater duct work goes down underneath the floor. There's a hole there. There's another one right back there. It's kind of hard to see. If you ever hear rattling water lines, they're either running against each other typically or hitting the side of the shower. And you can take you a pool noodle and wrap them around these things if you have that issue. And that's about it. The wheel well is right there. This is your freshwater tank inlet. That's your freshwater tank air outlet. That's really it for the inside of underneath the closet. And that's the wiring. So anyway, this hole in here was the worst part of wiring this entire trailer. And then you had to build the wires for everything up front. But just getting that difficult wire in these compartments was the most difficult. I was going to mount the battery today, but I got to do some other things. Piper's helping out right now too. She's providing moral support.
Well, good morrow.
I've got these cables ran. They go up under the shower there and back through. I made them a little extra long because I don't know if I'm going to mount them on the floor or mount them underneath. So like underneath the mattress kind of thing up the floor, so I don't hit stuff with them as I put things in and out of storage bins. But that's about it for now, because I'm waiting on a big T-fuse, a 400 amp hour T-fuse, and some mounting blocks. So we just cut a hole here in the cabinetry because all the wires that go up here to your inverter and battery and whatnot and power the rig, I'm going to run them along. So this compartment here is the outside storage compartment. I don't like them on the floor because things coming in there, you get banged, scratched, nick wires, things like that. So that's not ideal. So I'm going to put these little clamps up here on the top, underneath. So this will be covered with a sheet of plywood, which your mattress sits on top of. So these wires will run right along here and then drop down and cut to a mouse hole in the floor and come along up here and go into the inverter. So that's what Blair and I are doing right now. So here's inside the closet, the outdoor storage compartment. You can see where the wire runs across here and down inside that hole over here. I like this much better than being down here on the floor somewhere. All in all, I'm very pleased with the way this wiring job turned out. Although I am not an expert in electrical wiring by any stretch of the imagination, it's actually something that scares me quite a bit. But with the help of a number of experts who I was able to lean on and ask questions of, I was able to get this done. And I'm very thankful to Blair for helping me do all this wiring too. Very soon we will release the video where we wired up everything else. So our DC to DC charger, our front jack, our solar plug, our Servo GX, and all the things that go up underneath the front right there, where Blair helped me make all the wiring for it. That part was easy and fun because you get to make it look pretty. This was the mundane stuff that nobody ever sees and gets hidden somewhere else. But it was also the most difficult simply because of the wiring, the stiffness of that wire. But it all turned out well. Very happy with this job. Stay tuned for more. Have a great day, everyone. Happy adventures.